How do I sound? It's not good, right? My audio test wasn't good. So I imagine that the problem didn't rectify itself. Hello, 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 world. It's me. Hello, 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 hello. Hello, darkness, my old friend. Hello, goodbye, hello, goodbye. Will you go to prom with me and dance and dance and dance and dance and dance and dance? I probably shouldn't drink this if I'm not going to be streaming all night. What's up? How's the sound? Bad? Still? Not great, but tolerable? My audio test did not sound good, but all my settings are correct. I figured this might happen, and it seems like it's maybe happening. I have that Hello Goodbye stuck in my head. No, not the song, but the band song. Will you go to prom with me? Y'all just content listening to me be insane? Thank you. Okay, thank you. Hi. I'm sorry. I don't want you to take my comments personally. If I don't know who's lurking, I can't be personal. I'm glad it sounds better, but I'm afraid it's just gonna amp up and be back to what it was. This is what happened. It was like last winter. It was shortly after I started streaming, so it probably wasn't this early in the year. It was probably more like February, March. I did silent streams for like 4 months and just would type and like interpret cards like and type it out. And honestly, like I don't necessarily mind doing it, but it's definitely not preferred. Like I do so much typing during my day. I'm not trying to fucking type on stream. And the thing is, I don't talk that much during a lot of my days, so I'd much rather talk on stream. But it's not my laptop and it's not my microphone is the problem, and it's Twitch, which is why I need a different streaming service. And it's not that I'm attached; it's like I have no desire to learn any software really, especially when I tried 2 different ones, and like I said, there was either everything was behind a paywall, or it was only made to link to your computer screen to stream games on. So like, I don't know. There's not really a good one for me to use. And I am frustrated by all of this. So I'll have to figure something out. 420, not now. If this is tolerable, if y'all think you'll listen to this, I don't know if it's worth streaming or if we should just kind of be kind of quiet or like what, I don't know what the preference would be. Because like the thing is, I took a week off of streaming and it literally does fill so much of my social requirements to be able to stream, where I find that I'm significantly less annoying to the very few people that are in my life when I get this outlet of being social and having weird conversations and getting to talk about the things I'm interested in, rather than the day to day. So I want to do it. If it gets out of control like it did last time, it was an increasing issue. before, and I know that like when I get louder, it gets worse and echoes more, and I have everything set up best I can so that it's not too much of an issue. But yeah, not fun. Definitely not fun. So I'm gonna roll some ads, brethren, and I will be back after them. Okay. All right. So how does it sound? Is it okay? It sucks because I know what this is. It's not gonna. It's just gonna probably do this for a while, and I am gonna have to look into another streaming software because I know the problem didn't completely go away. It just doesn't sound as bad, but it'll probably amp up to sounding just as bad. If not in this stream, then the next one. It's not bad now, but this literally went on for like 4 months. No resolution. No one could figure it out because there was not actually anything wrong. So, um, I don't really catch a lot of streamers on here. Probably should watch more of them than I do. But if y'all know anybody who streams tarot on here, ask them for me, please. What the fuck software they use? Because, like I said, some of these are meant for specific gaming, and they don't have the camera option without the shared screen option type shit. Like this is the most simple one, and I'm a simple man. You know what I mean? So, any suggestions besides the basic ones that I already tried? Which I think was Streamlabs and maybe not OBS, but I'm pretty sure OBS is one of the ones that's specifically for gaming. So they don't all necessarily work, but maybe they do. I don't know. Maybe they do, and I misunderstood them. I will try again. I need something. Thank you. Yeah. Hi. I was just bitching about my sound. Nat, how does it sound compared to last time it did this? It's not as bad now, right? But it will be eventually. Thanks for jumping on. I know you probably will just do your own thing, but I appreciate you being here and thank you for the subscription. I appreciate that because I know you like supporting the homies, but you got a lot of homies and you chose to support me. Thank you. I love it. So we left off on me showing you guys some of the fucking art that I've been making while we didn't have internet. But then it was echoing really badly, so we stopped, and now I can't determine if it's echoing bad enough to not go back to what I was doing. Or maybe do it in a less obnoxious way, or whatever. So I was gonna read a poem. That's what it was. I left off on I was about to read a poem. If you're waiting for tarot, it's gonna be a while, but you'll know once my screen changes to the little green screen on this half of your screen, you'll know that I have cards out and I'm doing tarot. While we're on the full screen, art view, pink, that means we're just chatting. Great time to interrupt me with any good news that you want to share or ask any questions in regard to anything outside of tarot or in tarot, irrelevant to a specific reading. Now's a great time to do that. Anytime that we're just chilling is a good time to do that. I should really stop drinking this coffee. Mm-hmm. Okay, here's what's odd for me. I think some of them do. I am having audio issues. They're just not as bad, and everybody has unanimously decided that oh, that's funny. So you can't hear me right now? I was literally talking about how grateful I am for you, but I guess if you can't hear it, that's fine too. Why don't you have speakers on this comp? Because you're switching? It doesn't matter. We'll talk about it later. That celebrities getting channeled. I think some of them honestly get channeled a lot. And some of them, it's a very radical experience that they don't realize is possible until they come to me. Typically that's why I don't often do requests, or it's not that I don't do requests. I don't make personal requests because of that, where it's they probably have so many people who want to reach out to them. I usually wait until I can't get a celebrity off my mind. Like Leonard Cohen. I would never just jump to being I want to talk to Leonard Cohen today. Who the fuck am I? He's a complete stranger to me. He owes me nothing. But because he knew Nico, and because he knew who all these other people I've talked to already, there was that week where I told you I woke up and Who by Fire would be in my head and I'd listen to it all day long and it'd still be in my head when I went to sleep, and then we came on the stream, and the thing with the notebook where it was very obvious that he was calling me. And who shall I say is calling? Right? So yes and no. I feel like I let them come to me for that reason. But also there was a time that I really wanted to kind of get in touch with Jerry Garcia. It was his birthday. And I had done Janice's birthday and Nico's birthday. I was like, Jerry would be my number one choice for a birthday party, right? Where I want to do Jerry's birthday, see who shows up. And he just was completely unavailable to me. Completely. And he was one of the, oh my God, yeah. Okay, yeah, definitely, yeah. He was one of the first kind of people or souls that I feel I connected with long before I could conceptualize necromancy at all. Jerry Garcia was he's in this orb. I know it's so cliche. It's so fucking half-baked. I'm half-baked. You know what I mean? Cheers. Sorry if you're new here. It's legal where I live, and Twitch said go for it. So we're half-baked on this channel. We love Ben and Jerry's, so nice. Rip it for me. Plastic bottle, homie, what the fuck? It's 2022. You shouldn't have been doing that in the first place. And I know what I said, and I meant it when I said 2022. It's Aquarius season. We're not done until Pisces season ends, okay? It's 2022. I'm sorry about my audio issues. Anybody who's just tuning in, I'm aware of them. I have no way to fix them. Hopefully they don't get any worse than they are. Try to embrace it and understand that I am a person of distorted sounds. So anyways, to answer all these questions we were getting into, I was saying something before the pals comment, but I would say yes, I have become very good pals, I feel, with Nico. I get so absorbed in her energy. I become so attached to who she is and sort of like what she provides me in this age of sort of like fake beauty. She kind of comes in and shows me her beautiful self while also standing in her power of her ugly self. I can't express it, how much she inspires me and how much I can see myself in her, and I think how much she sees herself in me, but we both know that I will never go down the same road she did, so it's almost like, it's not that she's banking on me, but she has instilled a faith in me that I definitely lacked having completely before I talked to her. Yes. So I feel like we keep in touch a lot. I've almost like, I can almost imitate. I was listening to a video I did, and it was probably on Halloween. It was like Halloween weekend, if not on Halloween. And I sang just like a 3-minute no music version of All Tomorrow's Parties. And I am not saying this in the way that I'm trying to brag. I am saying this in a way where I am like impressed that I could get my German accent down so well that I sound almost like just like her in this recording. And it's like, it almost embarrasses me, where it's like, just be yourself, just sing. You don't need to be imitating some German woman. But she also, it's like lessons. And I feel like John Lennon, another big one, where he made it so obvious to me that he was in front of me, that I started to believe in this gift that I clearly always had because of him. And he consistently has checked up on me. It's been a while, but I feel like he was pushing me for a second, where he knew to back off. And he also has that like unhinged Libra energy where nobody's perfect, but he has I feel for him, like I have so much sympathy for him in death, more than I did, like I had no sympathy for him in life, but in death I'm like, God, that is quite the fucking job to be the person. I get chills thinking about him sometimes, because he is that figurehead for a modern world. As much as he's not Jesus, he plays the same kind of pivotal role, and 2,000 years from now people might regard him as such. Right? Like, not as Jesus, but as some kind of Messiah or prophet who sang and who made music and who changed the world and revolutionized things and had simple principles and many followers. Like, it's not, like, you can't, like, sit here and pretend like that's not very probably similar to who Jesus was when Jesus was alive, right? It's not that he was a musician, but, like, Son of God. Like, according to whom, how many years, how many centuries did these stories get passed around? Okay, that's what I meant by that, is that there's some people reincarnate, but when you have too many attachments in this world, it's hard to leave them. Okay, so think about Jesus. Probably, I don't know if I would say he reincarnated or not, but I think that it's like any spirit can inhabit the body of a human being, and the more you let go of your consciousness with things like alcohol or any type of drug, or even mental instability, it's easier to be a vehicle, right, for spirits or for, you know, energy, spirit, God. And in that way, there is like a part of them that can inhibit anybody. And in a sense, you would imagine that if they just chose someone before they were born, that they could be born as them, right? Not necessarily, but even if still, we can discuss that a bit. And also, you should send me dark beats because I fucking love making dark music. But I also am a romantic, so I'll take some corny shit too. I like write about my intrusive thoughts or like my like endless love, endless, sometimes unrequited, sometimes like overly reciprocated. Whatever, I don't know. Those are like, yeah. Like I said, you can go at www.illymilly.com. You can find all my contact. You can send it, I think, via the website, or you can email me via the website, or you can get my email address from my website. So I'm down. And if I, like I said, if I like them, I will send back a tarot reading for you of the deck of choice. If I don't like them, I'm sorry. I'm not asking you to do anything extra. You volunteered. But if I like it, would love to compensate. Be great. Would love that. Have 2 original songs by the end of the week. So, but when it comes to someone like John Lennon, right? Jesus lived a long time ago, so any of his physical attachments that were in this world when he was alive are long gone. He probably has a lineage he could trace, but again, I think it's more about absorbing a human essence for a moment and showing someone a sign rather than it is. Nice. Okay. Cool. 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 And then maybe we can discuss further if I like it. But someone like John Lennon, his wife is still alive. His children are still alive. I'm not sure if he has grandchildren. Right. I don't think Sean has any kids, but maybe Jude does. That there is a lot that is still going on that he wants to be a part of as who he is as John in this life. Whereas, you know, like I said, someone like Jesus who would, yeah, that would make sense if he reincarnated, but also no one really would believe him if he did. I think Jesus probably has reincarnated and probably stopped fucking doing it because every time somebody claims to be Jesus, they just end up in the psych ward. They just end up being called mental, ostracized, made fun of, or church zealots disregarded and, you know, can't get through to their own crowd. So I think Jesus probably gave up on that shit. But John Lennon wouldn't be nearly ready to reincarnate when his legacy is still, his bandmates are still alive. Like, he's not done here being this figurehead. And I think it drives him mad. I've seen him, like, he comes to me in very human ways. But he has so many sides to him because he's stuck in this, like, perceptive reality that is, it's like being stuck in 2 worlds at once, right? And he's a figurehead for a whole movement. And it's not like, once again, I'm not sitting here and saying that John Lennon is Jesus, but it is a very similar role. But John Lennon is of a modern world, and Jesus is of an ancient world. And so the way that their careers or their lives will look are going to look different. That is why, you know, in 2,000 years, once again, it's like the way things are perceived. People might not even realize there's a difference between those 2 men when you get far enough in the future. And when you see so much misinformation in the form of jokes online, I don't think people realize that people who are chronically online, kids who grow up online, are never going to know what's a joke because they're not learning the truth outside of what they consume. And I think it's so easy to forget that. And while we think it's funny, being the older crowd or what was funny 10 years ago versus what's funny now, it's literally going to fuck these kids' perception of history up because they have nothing to go on. And honestly, they will have no reason to believe us correcting ourselves because we made those jokes and because we made that content, that they will have no perception of what actually happened. And honestly, that's a great place for a narcissist to have their victim. So, the U.S. government, of course, in that scenario being the narcissist, right? Just gaslighting the masses into just believing whatever the fuck they want them to believe, because now that we have everything on record and everything on video and everything's being live streamed, they don't really need to regard history books anymore. It's happening live in front of us, but it does give them the opportunity for all of us to be looking at the present so they can manipulate whatever the fuck happened in the past. And if all the information is digital, can you even imagine, right? I'm just saying. That's crazy. That's crazy, but it's not necessarily true. But it's interesting to. This is so weird. Okay, it says pre-roll on for 43 minutes. It's odd. There is this like funny thing where it's almost like if you bring someone up, or I start talking about someone, or someone comes up, for example, in this scenario, it would be John Lennon, and then there's like a conversation that spirals from it. It's like, is that this person inspiring me to talk about a subject, or am I channeling them? Or is the point of you bringing it up to have these conversations? I always find that very interesting that I do that, where I will go off on a tangent, and it's like, how did we really get on this subject other than you said one specific person, and I said, oh, about that, let's talk about this, and it does feel very divine. But I heavily believe in divine timing. I'm all about being in the right place at the right time at the right moments and in life, and just think that we can never really truly be steered wrong as long as we know that we are steering, right? So I love that. And yeah, that's kind of how I think reincarnation works and what I think of the dead. Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that's such a complicated ideal to really dissect, and it's so funny because I've always believed that, but it wasn't until like 2019, for whatever reason, was a very pivotal year for me. And I think it's funny because I do love the number 9. I love 369. Damn, I'm fine. That's probably why I like it, right? Like, I love those numbers. But I like all numbers because then I'm like, I like 11 and ones and fours and twos, and six is just as well. Six, I said twice. So six might be my favorite number, but 7 and 13 have always been my lucky numbers. So, like, I kind of just like numbers, going back to math. Thank you, princess. That's not really how this works, but if you are interested in getting, a personal reading, you can go on my website and book one. Otherwise, once the screen is smaller and the border is green, you'll notice that that means I'll have my cards out. But right now, we're just chatting about tarot rather than doing tarot. But I never do personal readings on my channel, which I think if you did read my chat rules, you would have known that. Thank you. Yes, yes, yes. I love that you say that because me too. And I'm trying not to get too worked up or too loud because I know that the echo will increase and get worse if I get any louder. But that is so much of what 2019 was about. And look at how 2020 played out right after that. And of course, COVID existed as an unknown virus as early as October of 2019, right? So that's when it truly started. But we didn't go into lockdown, at least in the US. We didn't go into lockdown until Aries season. It was the last week, or I guess it was still technically Pisces season because I think St. Patrick's Day that year was lockdown. But it was like the end of that zodiac year and into the beginning of the next one that transpired. That is so wild. So if you're sitting here thinking that didn't happen for me until 2020, but you went through something from January to March in 2019, then you bet your fucking ass that it was 2019 that happened to you too, and that you can relate. That's so wild. I wonder how many people went through that. And especially because a lot of people were really sick. I got really sick September. It must have been September that year, where it's like maybe a lot of us did have COVID and didn't realize it. I was starting to get chronically sick. Yeah, my sickness started in September. My psychosis started in October and then hit the fan in November. Um, which is weird because November seems like it is the 11th month, which, like I said, I love 11. But I think all numbers have their own energy, right? So it's hard to say what I like. It's like they all have their own resonance and their own necessity to me. But my meditation period was in July and August. I think I was like a month after you. So like I think my meditative state was more August, where I had finally like it was almost like I unlocked parts of myself that I didn't really know existed but had a feeling did exist, while also like seeing the past for what it really was. Like I was like looking back. Yeah, like I had no way to stop it. Gosh, that's so weird. I it's so weird. Um that would happen. I wonder what was in transit at that time. I tried to do both. Well, I was in a state where I was like not necessarily uncomfortable with it, but I wanted out. I wanted a break. I wanted to focus on myself. I wanted to be off the spiritual path. Like I wanted to, and it was just like life was forcing me to look at it, and not forced me to do anything, but it felt like, okay, if I can't turn it off, then I got to turn it on and turn it all the way up. I get why that's ironic. We all get why that's ironic. If you don't get that's why ironic, it's because we don't know each other. But um, that's where it's like I probably made mistakes and did things I shouldn't have done during that time, but I thought it was what I was meant to do because I was unable to sleep. I was unable to eat. I was unable to work. I was unable to function. Where I was like, okay, I have no choice but to sit here and sit with this, right? I have no choice. I may have been drugged. I may have been drugged somewhere in there. There's like two scenarios in which it was very potentially possible, and all of the side effects of someone who was drugged. But yeah, I got you too because I was one who, because I grew up religious, I always had a need for spirituality, and I did have a brief phase that probably ended around that time of me rejecting everything I once believed. I think, honestly, the hardest part for me in regards to my beliefs or my powers, I don't like necessarily calling them powers, but my gifts, right? But when they become, I don't know, as refined as mine are, then shit, man, they're like powers, right? They're powerful. It's power. Um, but I feel like I kind of it's very sad. It's very sad. It's there's a lot of stuff that I really choose to keep out of my mouth because I have tried to make amends in the ways that I can think of how. But I'm not doing a good job at it because I, in a way, probably am not the one who needs to make the amends, if you will. But I continue to try to do what I think is the right thing to do and express myself in the way that I need to. But it's very sad because at one point, I was already doing tarot and I was already getting a very high success rating early on in my work with tarot. And I had been talking to dead people. I'm sure it is because it opens you up to the reality of how common or thorough or real this stuff is, right? So I was already well into my work with tarot and necromancy. Although I didn't have as much control, I didn't have any control on the necromancy. I would talk to the dead people that were um, there, but I had no touch on the fact that I could just talk to anyone. You know what I mean? Where it scared me at first. I didn't like. I made it clear a long time ago I didn't want to see any of them, and now I do see them in many different ways because I have more control over it. For a time, it was like, no, I'm not doing that. So even though I was well versed in my gifts at this point, was not very empowered by them. I didn't have a lot of control in them. I just knew I could do it. I also had PMDD the whole time and had no idea what that was. And I thought that my intrusive thoughts were real. I thought my paranoid delusions were real. I thought that my hatred for people was real. when really it's just like this dysphoric rage that overtakes my mind, body, life, and brain, and makes those things seem real, is what was really happening. So it was very hard to differentiate. So I had to have that pivotal moment where I realized the difference. I mean, I had some mad delusions, but I had a lot of madness. I think a lot of it was far from being delusions as much as it was madness, right? I had the delusion that I had to die, but I think that was actually my body trying to tell me that I was dying because I hadn't eaten or slept or drank water in like days and went weeks, without sleep. Like me thinking I was gonna die was like my body shutting down and trying to warn me that I was dying, but my spiritual self was like walking on the other side. It didn't give a fuck or was like ready to do it, where I was like just in it, in this journey. So it was like, okay, going with it. Like, no, stop. Eat something. You're dying. How are you missing that message? But like your brain's not going to be functioning at that point very well. So it was like this super low functioning shit, where it was like madness. Yeah. Seriously. Yeah. And as someone who's like mostly retired from most drugs, like pretty much Cali sober, if you will, and I occasionally will drink alcohol, but I don't even get drunk anymore. And I used to do some fucking pretty hardcore shit. Not like super hardcore, heavy, hardcore shit, but like I did some hardcore shit. It's very easy to get addicted to that kind of like no sleep sort of the benders that come with that, and starving yourself. You hallucinate, and so it's like it's almost like getting a drug fix, and so it's like I don't know. It's sort of like the natural way to just go around the drug taking, right? It's not good. You will hallucinate, and you will think you're dying, and you will have an ego death, just like you would if you were to take acid or something. Like it's like a natural high. So even though I knew that, I was trying to force myself to sleep. I like did not consume. Maybe I was still drinking coffee because it was very ritualistic. But I would like meditate and I'd try to sleep, and I wasn't doing anything. I think I was just eating less. It's not like I was consuming more caffeine than I had been on a regular basis at the time. I don't drink coffee nearly as much anymore. But I wasn't doing anything out of the ordinary at the time. But nothing was like working. But I think I was just eating less, and so I wasn't absorbing the coffee, and it wasn't like I had nothing to burn. So it was a lot of like this, but it wasn't a lot of this, So it was like when you just let your mind go and you're not burning the energy to make yourself tired or burning off the caffeine, you're just speeding up your brain. Like, not good, not good, not good, not good. But that's why, like, I treat myself. Shit, when we got them buy one get one. Yeah, lately I've been doing these like I won't sleep for a day, but it's just crazy, like how much you can get done, like in a day. I'm not saying it's healthy, and I'm not saying I did it intentionally. It just like because I've cut coffee out so much. When I go out for a coffee, they are sometimes way stronger than I expect it to be. Because like I'll drink a whole French press and still be able to go to sleep that night, but I cannot just drink a whole like cold brew espresso like drink anymore. Even though I've been drinking coffee my whole life and was a barista for more than one job, and have always been high amounts of caffeine, tons of espresso, like my whole life. And I'm super sensitive to it all of a sudden. So at that time I was doing that on the daily, and I would still be able to sleep or whatever. But nowadays I've cut it out so much that it affects me differently. So at the time I think I had to go through whatever I went through, but I also realized that it's so weird. This is so weird. And listen, it's Illuminati mistakes for a reason, okay? Like I just like to remind people like we'll fuck with conspiracies around here. So please don't get it twisted or think that I'm talking out of my turn. Thank you, Mars, for the follow. Love the name, by the way. all-seeing Mars. That's very cool. We definitely love conspiracy. So a few months ago, I saw like some kind of meme. It was like just a meme I saw on the internet that said, "Can't believe the government admitted to having lasers that can put people's thoughts in their head." And I was like, okay, it's an internet meme. That's probably not real. So I Googled it. And I guess debate for yourselves. There was plenty of information from websites that maybe I hadn't heard of but seemed pretty accurate, like the military ones that I saw, or like just news press. Look it up yourselves. That they were talking about this in July of 2019, that they had come out with these lasers and the Pentagon admitted to having them. That they could literally use a laser gun to implant thoughts into people's heads. So then, November 2019, I didn't know this until a few months ago this year, right? But the articles I found in my pursuit of wanting to know about this a few months ago, I found articles from July 2019, August 2019, May 2019. So I'm kind of like, damn. Flash forward November 2019, and I'm in the hospital trying to tell people that I was being commanded to kill myself, right? Like, I didn't consciously want to do it, but I felt like I had to do shit. I was being commanded to do things I didn't want to do, but I couldn't. I thought it was a spiritual thing, right? So I was like doing it and being like, okay, this is the only way to save my life. If I'm gonna like paranoid thoughts once again, feeling like people were after me, watching me, whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? And I had no idea that this fucking laser situation was a fucking situation. But then 2 years later, it was already out in the open back then, and yet still no one believed that I was being commanded or that there was another voice, and that as much as I hear voices in my head, because I am spiritual, I am clairaudient, I am a necromancer, I know the difference between my voice, a human voice, a demon voice, God's voice, Satan's voice. You think I don't know the voices in my head? I'm not saying I don't have voices in my head. I'm telling you I know what they are. And this command voice wasn't one of ours. That was not us. That was not anybody I've ever talked to. And John Lennon made himself perfectly motherfucking clear to me. So whatever that other voice was, yeah, do I think it could have been? Do I think it could have been? Abso-fucking-lutely, bro. Abso-fucking-lutely, bro. Especially where I was at the time. The epicenter of America. Are you fucking kidding me? Yeah, right. I could have been in fucking DC and it would have been more obvious. Like, just ridiculous. And then everybody just kind of makes it out that I'm crazy when it's like, nope, I'm actually like the perfect candidate to test that shit on. I don't know what that is. IDOSer. But yeah, anyway, I don't know why we kind of got on this topic other than we've shared spiritual psychosis, but also they were probably doing some pretty heavy experimenting at the time because they were releasing their new technology onto the masses, and that's why they have to release it to the press, because they have to admit what they're doing and then they do it, and we inherently consent to anything that they do by them telling us and us not doing anything about it, basically. Like, interesting. German. Mm-hmm. This is what happens when you give Nazis jobs. This is what happened because the U.S. gave a bunch of Nazis jobs. I love how you said German, and I knew that's what you meant, even though I didn't know. And there's always the delay on the chat, so that's hilarious and not funny, but fuck Nazis, But yeah, this is kind of like the post World War II world that we live in. It's like the U.S. government gave Nazis a bunch of jobs in the U.S. and now we've become experimentation for who knows or God knows what. And if you want to involve the aliens, I'm sure that some of them were present. Yeah, I could totally see that. And that's why some are regarded as more insidious than others. What are you going to do? So, Cool. What's up, everybody? This is kind of an interesting conversation. I didn't know what we would talk about because it's been so long. And I didn't want to just jump right into tarot cards because I've a lot of these thoughts are like, I don't know, I didn't know when I'd be connected again or when I'd be back online. So I didn't want to commit to what I would be doing on stream, but all week long I was like, damn, I wish I could stream tonight. And like, oh man, I miss being able to talk to you guys and I want to be able to fucking have these conversations, you know. But it's an intense one-on-one face-to-face conversation to have. It works much better when it's just me and a bunch of anonymous people who can support some of my ideas comfortably and anonymously because they're very radical and extreme. I get that. But what's up? But what's up? Oh my god. How's the sound doing? I didn't mean to get so loud, but I got a little loud, so what's up? You know, I know the sound is not great tonight, but as long as we can manage, we will. Whew. It's also kind of a weird time. There seems to be quite the handful of people still lurking or tuning in. Thank you to those who are chatting with me. It's always a lot less lonely when you do. It's kind of late, and I started late, and I'm up for the time being. I didn't know that I was going to have internet tonight, so I was planning on painting. And then even while I was painting, when I was off stream, I thought about how like sometimes I will do the art category while I stream, and I'll draw and stuff. Yeah, I will answer that. But I realize the way that I paint is way too much of a process to like do it on stream, and I go, it's too much, and I'm very quiet while I paint, and I don't have to be quiet while I'm drawing or coloring. But painting is so spiritual. I don't know. There's something about it. I think I'm actually really good at something that I'm doing, even if the paintings don't look that good, right? Like I put a lot of magic, I think, in my paintings. But yeah, so there is so many different ways to channel something that I think it depends where a perfect channel, probably not. I think you can perfectly recite what comes to mind, and that would probably constitute as the best way, or not best way to channel, but like the most way you could have like a perfect channel, right? Is if you were to say verbatim what you were hearing to say, if that's how you do it. But the way you convey the message probably won't be perfect, right? Although sometimes I get these really weird voices and funny accents, and like Nico, like I never even tried to do a German accent. I've always done a Russian accent, British accent, even like I don't know, like out like vampiric accents that don't really exist, you know. But I never once even attempted a German accent until I started channeling Nico, because when I talked like her, it came out just like her. Like it would just be her voice. It's the craziest thing, but it's very far and few between that happens. To me, that is like a perfect channel. But I don't know. You wouldn't be able. There's no nothing you can measure it up to. You know what I mean? I don't know anyone who knew her when she was alive, and that crowd's dwindling. Let's be honest. She died young, but even if she was still alive, she'd be old now. So all her friends are old, and a lot of them are dying. So, but then there's also like the idea of possession, where like that's what I would think is the most pure form of channeling, right? Is like if you're fully possessed by something, because then it just comes out as what you, whoever that is, whoever's possessing you, right? So like if someone's speaking through me, it's just them speaking directly almost. It's almost like it's that Stitch moment. That Stitch moment where he puts the finger on the, Lilo and Stitch. No spoilers. I am so anti-spoilers, but I feel like it's kind of an iconic moment. It's been long enough where I can bring it up 20 years later, right? I didn't even think about the fact that what year was Lilo and Stitch? That had to be like 2000, 2001. I didn't even think about the fact that X-Files was literally so, like, 10 years after they were on. Um, oh, it is 2002. Okay. So, like, even like 10 years later, X-Files was still so relevant to mainstream culture that, like, when it ended, I mean, it didn't end until 2003. That's what I'm saying. Like, it was so, like, people were so about the alien shit. They even put it in the kids' shows. Like, I love that. So, it's interesting that you want to get to that or say stuff. Like, do you stream or do you just channel on your own? And if so, and because you're working on it, and like, okay, people who get mad that I don't do personal readings, this is just exactly what I'm talking about. Where if you're on my stream and you interact with me and you're chill, you're gonna get what you need out of these streams. So, yeah. Now that you mentioned you make music and you're working on your channeling abilities, I would say pick your favorite. Yeah, exactly. Men in Black was 1999, right? And X-Files started in 1993. It had a chokehold on everything. Matrix even coming out in 1999. My partner and I, actually, there's an episode that is so reminiscent of Donnie Darko in X-Files that I was like, there's no way that this came out after or before Donnie Darko. Like, this must be based on Donnie Darko. When in reality, the X-Files episode came before Donnie Darko. And so X-Files, like, basically inspired, or most likely inspired, Donnie Darko. Like, you have no idea the chokehold that show. Sorry, I can't shout because it's going to echo, but the chokehold that show had on America, ridiculous. It's one of the best television shows ever to this day. Like, nothing tops that shit. So, yeah. While you are making music, you make beats, you said. I don't know if you do any other genres, but basically, whatever you're making, whatever music you're making, pick your favorite deceased artist of that genre and ask them if they would guide you or influence you, or just like listen to their music before you go in and make music, right? That's why I said stick to whatever you're working on in that moment. If you're making a beat, fucking try to, connect with Jay Dilla. If you're doing a guitar part, try to connect with Jimmy. Someone you like, though. I don't know what you listen to. It'd be really funny if you liked Jay Dilla and Jimi Hendrix, though, right? But, yeah, I think that would be a good avenue for you because you're already spiritually on that ride, but you're also spiritually, I think music is very spiritual. Yeah, not fuck the angels. We love the angels, but like, no, that's not, I mean, you would have no way of knowing what an angel was like, but you'd be able to know what a human that you've studied for a long time would be like, right? Like, you'd have no discernible way to know if you're really channeling an angel, right? Like, maybe that sounds silly the way that I'm saying it, but I would go with a musician of your choice based on the genre of music. That's what I was saying. It's like John Lennon came and talked to me during right before, that was my peak of the spiritual situation I was in. October, it was like John Lennon's giant floating purple head coming down from the heavens to talk to me and tell me stuff that there's no way I knew, and I'd Google it and be like, all right, I'm listening. Like, okay, I'm fucking listening. I don't know what the fuck this is, but I'm listening. And it was like, for 2 weeks, I was just seeing the world for, like, not what it really is, but just from a whole different perspective. And, like, it was very beautiful. And it was like, holy shit. And I was seeing, like, my future being revealed to me, my past making sense, my whole life leading up to these moments, or what is unfolding for me. It was beautiful. And then I panicked. And then I hit my premenstrual dysphoria week. Then I fucking freaked the fuck out and was like, maybe I don't want this. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe you shouldn't let a child decide their whole future. Maybe this is disgusting. Maybe I was stupid. Maybe I fell for something that was not meant for me, blah, 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 blah. And it had disastrous consequences. And now, of course, I'm in huge regret because 1, I interpreted it probably the wrong way. 2, I lost the opportunity completely. 3, I've like I said, try to reconcile in different ways because it's like, yeah, what do you do when you cut off communication with somebody that you want to talk to all of a sudden? And it's like, no, I can respect that communication was probably cut off for a reason. But when you can step outside yourself and recognize your own flaws and see it for what it is now, they say hindsight is always 2020. I just think, there you go. I don't really. Is that the dude? Don't tell me. Nick Drake. Not T Rex. That doesn't sound right. I can't think of who he is, but I recognize the name. I'm more into Nick Cave, but he's alive. Was he T Rex? Am I making that up? Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm thinking of the wrong guy. Who's the dude in T Rex? I feel like he has a similar name. Maybe I'm not remembering that correctly. Whoa, he is like old. I wasn't expecting him to be born in the 40s and dead by the 70s. I don't know why. Oh, so he died pretty young then. Oh, 26. So was Mac Miller. That's very sad. Oh, Pink Moon. I think I kind of know that song because that's so interesting. So there was I think it was 2 years ago that I did live streams for all the full moons, and the Pink Moon. Somebody sent me this song. So it's really funny because I probably haven't thought of it since then. Didn't realize he was deceased and probably could have channeled him had I known. So interesting. Wow. Oh, Mark Bolan. That's so funny. I was like, it's not Lord Byron, but it's someone that came up in that book that I read that Sebastian Horsley wrote. Mark Bolan. Their names aren't even a little bit similar. That's so fucking funny. But maybe we're supposed to channel him. He was a Libra that died during Virgo season. He was so close to being done. He was born, get this, born September 30th, 1947, died September 16th, 1977. So they say that when you're born and die during your same zodiac cycle, you like have completed your life cycle. But then like he was so close. He was literally like 2 weeks away and fucking died. And I don't want to say he overdosed, but I'm pretty sure he was doing fucking drugs, right? That's why Sebastian Horsley hung out with him. Oh no. I think it was a car accident. Yeah, car crash. LOL, it's like I'm not listening to him. No, never really thought to. Never really tried. I think well, you know what's funny is I think it's not that I channel Jesus, but talk to Jesus all the time. And I think sometimes with the channeling, it's not fair to say channel because sometimes it is like I'm just having a conversation with someone. And I think the channeling only applies when I'm actually doing the streaming and relaying the message, right? Because otherwise, it's like, do I channel them? No. Do they talk to me? Sure. Buddha, not so much, but like I said, Jesus, that's what prayer is, right? Because like he talks back. But then I also think about like someone else that came to mind just now, but I don't remember who. I'm thinking of a song right now, and I feel like it's Michelle Branch or something. This was like a super disruptive enemy. Enemy. What the fuck am I talking about? It's almost like something just came up where, like, okay, I always wanted to be more connected to Buddha, but I was raised Catholic, so like I'm always going to be a Jesus guy, I think. So that's cool because I wish that I could. Maybe I will connect with Buddha more. I feel like the Hindi gods show up for me in this world a lot, and the Egyptian gods show up. The ancient gods are the most present on Earth, I think, and then like Satan, Jesus, really kind of like both in my immediate circle, sort of. But then the I don't know. There was these tribal gods that definitely came up when I was going through my spiritual psychosis that I don't feel tied to because I know it's not my culture, but I feel like they are like the elder gods as much as the Egyptians or the Hindi gods, right? Um, where they almost were just like making their presence known to me for that reason. I don't know if it was Mayan or Aztec, but they were some powerful forces, and I felt like not like joining them or that I joined them, but it was almost like they were showing me things and showing me how to be myself and be in my power and understand how powerful I am and to fight back. Like it was just crazy. It was like connecting with like someone else's ancestral gods. It was insane and it was so beautiful. Like I said, it was like the 2 weeks of like everything's great and then it just maybe because I was working alone with these deities or whatever. But and a lot of people will say that, even of their own closed practices, and like I can respect it, but I try to be respectful. So I never seek these deities out. I see what comes to me and who comes to me, whether it's in this view or from this view, right? So like yeah, I've seen them. They were a surprise appearance, but again, I wasn't giving them enough honoration and respect in comparison to the other gods and goddesses that I have like been in touch with, worked with, or regarded as powerful beings that I worship. And I feel like that negligence towards them is like insulting. Like you're saying, all gods are fair game. It's not like I want to practice someone else's religion or steal someone's culture just to be able to say thank you to these gods who have created, protected, and kept our world as safe as they could over the years and being connected to the earth and being God. Like very beautiful. Very beautiful. Um the ad break, the auto ad is gonna roll soon. I didn't realize there's like a whole ass timer on here. I don't want to talk about how bad I am at Twitch. So I'm just gonna roll it now. And I don't know how much longer I'm gonna stream. I said I would do tarot, but um I'm just gonna take this quick ad break and see how I really feel. Stand up for a second, check in with myself and see how much longer I'll be on here. I should have started earlier. I was doing some other stuff tonight. I didn't think I'd have internet, so I didn't think I'd stream at all. So I made other plans, and then I was like, "Oh, fuck it, I can get on." So, and I do have this bad boy that I was going to drink when I woke up. But listen, if I drink it all, fuck it. I still was going to read some poetry to you that I wrote the other day. I don't even think I've read it back to myself. I just literally wrote. I just can make up poetry on the spot type shit. I don't know. Isn't that every poet though? I'll be back, at least for a few. Oops. I'm back. Yeah, I got up and I was like, yeah, I'm feeling good, feeling great. Sat back down, instantly got tired. So I can't imagine that I'm going to be on the stream for much longer, as much as I might be up for a while. Because I was, like I said, planning on having no internet and painting tonight. And I was looking forward to it. And it's a bit late to start a project like that, but I think the whole experience has taught me that maybe painting is a more important hobby than I gave it credit for, and I'm actually better at it than I thought I was. So let's read this little poem that I wrote. I don't, like I said, I don't think I read this one back, so I'm just reading out loud what I wrote yesterday. There is shit. I have really bad handwriting. There is always so much more to us than what we see or for don't know. Did I make it intentionally messy so I couldn't read it? I don't know. Ooh, this is one of my favorite songs that I found over the last couple days. But it needs a lot of work, so don't read that. There is always so much more to us than what we see out on out our door. There is always so much more to us than we see out our door. The view is little without the wind. No. The view is little without the mind to interpret what the eyes have seen. For anything to be magic, for all things must be. For them to be I am, you have to accept me. I'm not really sure about that one. For them to be it just looks like I am. I feel like it's supposed to be love or something, but for them to be I am, you have to accept me. Like, I don't get that, but I'll move on. If I have really bad handwriting, if I don't sit and try, if I'm not writing in all caps slowly, this shit's illegible. Like, I don't know. When I'm just like, it's like half cursive, half not. Oh, 1 hour and 11 minutes, and then we're coming up on 11 seconds. I love that. You guys want a 1. Boom, there you go. Okay. If there were a time to be sure of yourself, that time was yesterday, but you can try again tomorrow. I am is like the lake when nothing ever seems to move, yet none of it's still. Like everyone's busy, but you're still the whole world. Ah, I get it now. It is love. I might read the whole thing from the top, just the way it is. All right. Okay. There's always so much more to us than what we see out our door. The view is little without the mind to interpret what the eyes have seen. For anything to be magic, for all things must be. For them to be love, you have to accept me. If there were a time to be sure of yourself, that time was yesterday, but you can try again tomorrow. Love is like the lake when nothing ever seems to move, yet none of it is still. Like everyone's busy, but you're still the whole world. Love it. So cute. So cute. So beautiful. I love poetry so much. I really do. Love it. So, should I read some of those fire fucking verses I wrote too? I don't think so. I don't think I'm at the point where I want to start rapping on stream. I feel like making it's so funny because sampling a song to make a hip hop song is like totally okay, but covering a hip hop song feels like really weird, right? But then like sampling a song from a rock song feels totally weird and not okay. But like covering one is perfectly fine. Like it's just so funny, like trying to transition from one to the other, even though I'm like very basically vaguely know what I'm doing, not even really. Like I just am interested in making the damn music and not making the music. If that makes sense. It didn't make sense. But I don't know. I'm just saying. It's funny. It's just a funny thing to realize or think about or analyze in the sense that I'm doing it. I love that this like Bob Ross and Calcifer combo is absolutely perfect. Thank you so much. Made my night. Um, I feel like I had so much to catch up on with everyone, but I guess I don't know. I might just go. I said I was like, no, I'm totally doing tarot tonight. Feels right. I got a new deck, by the way. It's gifted to me by this beautiful lady, Jess. And she's so beautiful and excellent and kind and pretty and all sorts of stuff. And she gave me a fucking tarot deck. And as y'all know, I think it was like my last stream or the one before that I said I wanted a new deck. Now I got one. But I always gift people, whoever gifts me a deck gets the first reading. So before I reveal, we'll have to do that. I don't know. I don't think I care to do any tarot tonight. I said I would, but I will be back later, right? They're going to be streaming every night now that I am back online. And like I said, Friday, I have something really cool planned to make up for Janice's missed birthday this year. Because we've been solid doing her birthday for a couple years straight, and I'm upset I missed it. But Friday the 27th, super special day. Gonna be super cool. You can probably guess what I have planned. So I think it'll be really worth it. Really worth the wait. I'm excited about it, even. Okay. So in this moment I feel sleepy and I drink so much coffee that I think I just need to lean into the sleepy. Be back later. It was really fun. Thank you for all the great questions and the company and everyone else who contributed to the chat and stayed up late with me. Thank you to the lurkers for always being my number one supporters and biggest fans, even if it is from a silent distance. Thank you for always, all of you, being here, tuning in any capacity that you desire. I appreciate it. If you want to continue to support me while I'm not on the stream, of course, you can follow me on Instagram. You'll always know when the fuck I'm about to stream instead of waiting in anticipation or expecting me to go back to a schedule because clearly that didn't work out and ain't gonna work out for my lifestyle. Love you. You can always head over to www.illimilly.com and you can now become a member for free. And there are some new features being launched. They've been launched softly. That if you become a member, you'll be able to use these cool new features. More on that now that once again I'm back online. I'm super excited. I haven't been able to like spend a ton of time editing these new pages, but it's gonna be cool. It's going to be a really fun 2023, that's for sure. I am looking forward to this next Zodiac cycle. I'm looking forward to all your continued support. I'm looking forward to our more amazing conversations and more unfolding of our spiritual journeys and more intimate or personal discussions that we might have with each other. I'm excited for all of it. Okay, so I'll catch y'all later on the next stream. And it feels good to be back again, that's for sure. I'm going to start earlier tonight so that we can go longer. And I'll try to pull out some cards. But I was kind of having a hard time with the tarot before the week-long break. And honestly, we might just do some art and have some cool combo while I do it. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. You'll just have to tune in to find out. Love you all so much. Good night. And also, I'm going to roll out with some ads. Why not get that mic? Come on. Y'all know. You thought I wasn't going to, and I am. So I'm going to roll some ads, and I'm not coming back. All right. I love y'all. But not enough to not play these. In case you missed it, this is in fact the end of the stream. So if you made it this far, thank you so much. But go ahead and give yourself some sweet dreams. Once again, I am Illuminati Miss Dex, and I'll be back with some decks later tonight. So, for now, good night and good luck to you all. Until next time. Love you!